Halo CE. No, not that one. This one is probably the best first-person shooter I have ever played. Aside from Reach, Combat Evolved was the first game that I had ever played. I first played it when I was roughly 12 years old. Fuck me, that was 4 years ago. Even though I'm 18, I feel old. Oh well, on with the video. I'm not sure if some of my audience is familiar with Halo as a franchise, considering most of the younger generations are playing games like Call of Bathroom Duty. And if you are younger than 13 or a sensitive entitled shitbag, you probably shouldn't be watching this because fuck and cunt. Go nuts with that. Aside from all that, here's a brief summary of Combat Evolved. Chief wakes up, Chief gets Cortana from the bridge, Chief gets in escape pod, Chief bounces around when escape pod crashes, killing everyone on board. Chief kills collective of species called Covenant. Chief goes and rescues his boss, Captain Keyes. Chief slaughters more Covenant. Chief gets to the Halo's control room. Chief listens to expository dialogue from Cortana. Chief goes to save Mr. Jingles again. He's too late, you'll see why. Chief meets a parasite called the Flood. He hates it, a little more than the Covenant, but that's okay, because I do too. Chief meets a talking, floating bowling ball. Bowling ball leads Chief to get oversized green butt plug thing. He does without question. Bowling ball takes him to Halo's control room. Chief puts butt plug thing into the control panel. It starts to activate. Cortana stops it. Bowling ball hates Cortana. Cortana hates bowling ball. Chief hates bowling ball. Bowling ball hates Chief. Chief also figured out that he hates big death rings. Cortana knows where Mr. Jingles is. She tells Chief to go get him. He does. They realize he's a part of the Flood now. See, I told you that you'll find out. Chief takes Mr. Jingles' brain. Chief and Cortana go to the Pillar of the Pillar of Autumn. Chief hates the Autumn. He still hates bowling ball. Bowling ball still hates him. Chief escapes just as Autumn blows up, destroying big death ring. Chief is very efficient. Game ends. Now, as you might be able to tell, I have played the Combat Evolved campaign that many times, I know it off by heart, from where to go, except the nightmare that is the library, all the way down to where every enemy spawns. But yet, I still absolutely love it. Not because of how the graphics look in either the remaster or classic, and the remaster just looks like shit that's been set on fire. The original's graphics are broken, which 343 are fixing with Season 7, but that won't be until the 23rd of June. Great. But what keeps me coming back is the combat loop. It still holds up even to this day. The reason for this is Bungie had a rule called 30 Seconds of Fun. If that doesn't sound like a boy band name, I don't know what does. This rule was made to basically keep the player moving through the story without making them bored. This was done by having 30 seconds of combat, then a 30-second break. Unlike most Call of Duty games where you're put on rails and made to shoot shit until the game says, that's enough, you can play the game again now. This rule would be followed if the game was played in a way that makes that possible. Now obviously this isn't always true, but Bungie deliberately designed the combat loop in that way so it kept players wanting to come back to play the campaign. The atmosphere of the classic graphics should also get a mention here, as it can evoke a plethora of feelings such as suspense and wonder. But then you switch to anniversary graphics and you get blinded. Thanks, Saber Interactive, you really know how to burn people's retinas, huh? I don't actually think that this was done with the intent of making it easier to see things. I think it was done to be a little more lore-friendly, as all Spartans have better eyesight than their human counterparts, among other things such as increased strength, reflexes, and more. At least, that's what I tell myself. Apart from all that, I do actually like the new graphics in certain parts of the game. I know, unpopular opinion, but that's why you're here. If not, then what the fuck are you doing here? Now, hear me out with the whole graphics thing by allowing me to ask and answer questions like, are the new graphics bad? No. Are the new graphics good then? No. Then what are they? Mediocre. Now, they're mediocre because of the way the lighting was implemented. In the Flood missions, the lighting is far too bright, and because of that, most of the atmosphere of the game is taken away almost completely, and that's not good at all. Which is why I've edited the look of the footage in my editing software so that it's quite a bit dimmer and actually has a bit of a foreboding look to it. It's not perfect, but you get the idea. Now, I know that lighting and graphics are not one and the same, but if your lighting is shit, your graphics are going to look shit under that lighting. I am aware that some people don't mind the look of anniversary graphics, even in flood missions, and that's fine, because everyone's allowed to have an opinion, even though most other people in the Halo community would say that opinion is wrong, which makes absolutely no fucking sense, as it's a subjective opinion, not an objective opinion. Guess you feel stupid now if you're one of those people, huh? Now, let's talk about the multiplayer, and oh boy do I have some criticisms about that. Let's start with the Magnum. The Magnum is the only weapon that anyone uses, as it's a 3-shot headshot. Now, on paper, that seems like a great idea, right? Wrong. Every game has a meta weapon, unless you're talking about COD, where every weapon becomes a meta weapon at some point, which is just fucking stupid. I absolutely hate it when games have meta weapons, as the weapon or weapons in question will be the only thing that anyone will use, which makes the other weapons obsolete and makes the multiplayer boring as fuck. Just like if you release a game every fucking year for roughly 10 years consecutively without fail, which will make a franchise stale. Well, fuck me, I'm a poet and I didn't even realize it. Cue the more you know. Now, let's talk about the spawning system. It's fucking garbage. I can only really think of 2 options that it will give you. Option 1, you'll be spawned with everyone else on the other side of the map. Option 2, you'll be spawned right in front of an enemy and have no time to react, as they'll most likely have the fucking Magnum. I don't like Combat Evolved's multiplayer, so I refuse to talk about it any longer. Anyway, is Combat Evolved any good? Okay, is it worth playing? Right then, that's what I jumped on. Next up, Halo 2. Thank you all for watching if you made it this far. I was supposed to be done with this script a while ago, but didn't get around to doing it until the 16th of June and then rewriting it 3 days later. I do hope you enjoyed watching this. Hopefully I get the Halo 2 review done soon, so look forward to that. Links as per usual are in the description below. Have a good one, and don't forget to take out the washing machine.